Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a mine reopens near Smithers, young entrepreneurs in Terrace fundraise, and a BC woman is suing the coroner's service.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We'll begin tonight with our news that's local to the Northwest. A notice from Northern BC's only tertiary maternity hospital is warning pregnant women that obstetric services may be reduced starting in August due to a shortage of specialists. The notice says that some patients may need to be transferred for safe delivery. The University Hospital of Northern BC in Prince George is the only tertiary care hospital for obstetrics in all of Northern BC. It's where hospitals from across the Northwest already send high-risk pregnancies. Those patients may now be sent even further from home to receive care. The next closest options are in Vancouver or Kamloops. A gold mine near Smithers is getting set to once again become operational. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin has more on this mine's significance.
Blue Lagoon Resources recently held an official opening ceremony for their Dome Mountain Gold project that is about 50 minutes away from Smithers via vehicle travel. This project had already existed since at least the 1980s, but Blue Lagoon also made some history when they got their hands on it about half a decade ago.
It's a 22,000 hectare project that we acquired back in 2020, and we're very fortunate. Just became one of only 9 companies in the last decade to have received a full mining permit back in February.
The aforementioned opening ceremony saw the attendance of over 100 people from all over the world, with attendees from Germany, South Carolina, and Denver making an appearance alongside 18 hereditary chiefs from the Lake Babine Nation, and everyone was said to have left the event impressed by what they saw. The ceremony also marked the completion of some construction work as the property had to be closed down for a little while due to some needed infrastructure upgrades. Getting a mining permit in BC in a little under 5 years was an impressive feat as well, since it usually takes over 20 years to get one, and Blue Lagoon's president and CEO explained how they were able to get it done so quickly.
Getting this permit in record time was really due to the philosophy that we have, the approach that we have of transparency. Working with the Lake Babine Nation was one of the keys, and right from the get-go, we sat and rather than tell them what we thought they needed or all the jobs that we were going to create and all the economic benefits that was going to come, our approach was basically to sit down and listen to what their needs were. And yes, jobs and economic benefit was important to them, but listening was even more important. And what we found out from that was that really what the most important thing for them was the yinta, the philosophy that they have to be one with the land, to respect the land. And we really implemented that philosophy throughout every decision process that we made. And I think that came through to them, and that made them feel much more comfortable to provide the support what the government needed in order to fast track this project.
Technically, the project's operations haven't officially restarted yet, but it should be fully up and running sometime within the next couple of months. The project will also get support from Blue Lagoon's toll mining agreement with Nicola Mining that will see mineralized material from the mine get taken to Nicola's milling facilities in Barrett in order to be processed before it gets sent elsewhere to actually become gold. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
The Tahltan central government has been ordered to pay over $320,000 to former President Chad Day, who sued the nation over his dismissal. Day had been originally elected for a 2-year term in 2014, but was re-elected 3 more times for 3-year terms. His contract, which paid him more than $18,000 per month, was to expire in June 2025. The judge ruled that Day's suspension was not justified because the board failed to adhere to procedural requirements that gave it authority to place a director on administrative suspension. The $320,000 covers compensation for unpaid wages and benefits. Last weekend, a group of young cousins in the community showed the true meaning of compassion and teamwork. They organized a lemonade stand fundraiser to support their cousin's emergency eye treatment. Here's CFTK-TV's Helena Asante with more.
They called it the Cousin Kiosk, a pop-up stand filled with cupcakes, chips, and plenty of heart. From sweet lemonades to strong family ties, these cousin crew are showing us all how community starts with care. But this wasn't your average summer sidewalk sale. The young organizers aren't just selling snacks, they are spreading awareness. With their hand-drawn posters, a prize raffle, and their sunny attitude, they turned a weekend gathering into something truly meaningful.
It's summer break, so I get to stay home.
Standing proudly behind the table were 4 young cousins, the youngest 5, working together to raise money for another cousin, Oliver, who is preparing for surgery to treat retinal detachment, a condition that, if left untreated, can lead to permanent vision loss.
A lot of customers, me and with a lot of help from Lincoln here, get in the camera. We've been just like lemonade, lemonade, support our cousin, lemonade, lemonade, or well, his brother and my cousin. And we've just been yelling that for the past half hour. And like at first nobody was coming, and then people that we saw earlier just came out the road they went in and turned. I was like, where is it?
Retinal detachment occurs when the retina, the thin layer of tissue at the back of the eye, pulls away from its normal position. It's a medical emergency that can happen at any age and mostly require urgent surgery to prevent permanent damage.
We got back from our trip, and like just in the middle of our trip we heard about it. We don't really know why his retina detached really, but his only rule, which is really sad right now, is he can't go in the pool, and we just got a new one for for the summer in our backyard. So sadly he can't come in, but we're excited for when he can again. That's going to be so much fun.
Expressing gratitude, the general manager said he will be happy to do this again.
Any location, I'd do it again. As long as we're close to a busy road, I'd do it again for sure.
Coming up next, a disturbing mistake by the coroner's service. A Forest Practices Board audit has found that Metlakatla Forestry Corporation complied with the Forest and Range Practices Act and Wildfire Act on First Nations Woodland License N3B. The N3B license lies within the Great Bear Rainforest North Timber Supply Area of the Coast Mountain Natural Resource District. Auditors examined planning, harvesting, road maintenance and deactivation, silviculture and fire protection activities carried out between August 1st, 2022 and August 12th, 2024. Auditors said they found evidence of good forestry practices and stewardship. A disturbing story now of how one man was failed by the coroner's service and health authority. Here's CTV's Anna McMillan.
This is the jar that contained my dad's brain ashes in.
Ashes that were reunited with the rest of Peter Billy's remains years after he passed.
For some reason, his brain was not put back into his body.
Mandy Large says it was removed for examination during an autopsy after her father died in 2022. Before he was cremated, Large says the BC Coroner's Service said Billy's body and brain had been reunited at the Royal Jubilee Hospital in Victoria. Last September, she says the coroner let her know that hadn't actually happened.
She just said that they were cleaning out a fridge at Royal Jubilee Hospital and they found my dad's brain in a jar, just stored in the back of the fridge.
The First Nations woman is suing the BC Coroner's Service and the Vancouver Island Health Authority for negligence and for breaching their duties of care. Large shared an email exchange she had with the coroner, which indicates a miscommunication led to the alleged mishandling of the brain.
So for me, my dad being cremated without his brain, it just meant that he was, in the spirit world without a brain.
She says her father endured residential school and had a difficult life.
Because of that, I found some peace in my dad passing away for him because he no longer had to struggle.
So when this happened, it just brought up so much more. My dad didn't get to die with dignity.
The coroner's service and Island Health say they cannot comment while the matter is before the court.
I don't think anybody else needs to experience this, and it's very preventable.
Large hopes the lawsuit ensures other families don't suffer in the same way and that hers gets the closure it seeks. Anna McMillan, CTV News, Victoria.
A review of a serious fire response in Jasper is causing some controversy in relation to some finger pointing. Here's CTV's Jeremy Thompson.
The glow from the fire that hit Jasper was visible more than 80 kilometers down the highway that day. A wall of fire Parks Canada assessed at 50 meters high, propelled up the valley from the south by dry conditions and strong winds.
As the incident commander for the municipality of Jasper, I do believe there's nothing we could have done. There's no amount of resources or firefighters or air tankers that could have stopped that fire.
Crews tried to stop it. Fresh fire breaks, sprinkler systems, and teams on the ground couldn't stop homes and businesses catching fire from flaming debris raining from the sky.
You're always going to have an ember shower. Ahead of that fire will come the flying debris that will ignite something in your yard, something on your property.
Jasper is reviewing how the fire response could have been done better. An after-action report commissioned by the town and authored by 2 consulting firms was published last week. One small section suggesting the province disrupted the focus of incident commanders caught the ire of Premier Danielle Smith.
It took place in a federal park, and it was a federal Parks Canada response. So whatever it is that they are trying to do to deflect blame, I'm not impressed with it, and I would ask for an apology.
We have always acknowledged our gratitude to the province for the support that they have provided.
No apology from Mayor Richard Ireland, instead offering a clarification.
It was not intended to ascribe blame, and it does not ascribe blame. It describes circumstances.
The Premier also criticized Parks Canada's forest management before the fire, calling the efforts poor.
Parks Canada maintains it has been properly managing fire risk in the forest around Jasper. This is one of the areas where crews have cleared out certain trees and a bunch of other fuel. It is expensive work, and Parks Canada staff say it's a fine balance between public safety and keeping the area natural.
We did have a lot of fire risk reduction work on the landscape prior to last summer's fire, but the month of July last year was simply off the charts in terms of the hot, dry weather.
Officials with Parks and the town say the most practical improvement to reduce damage next time around is to get more people to fire smart their properties. Rebuilt homes will do that by default. The fire department is also rolling out a residential sprinkler system to be activated when the fire risk is high. In Jasper, Jeremy Thompson, CTV News.
Turning to the weather, there is a heat warning in effect for the North Coast inland, including Terrace. Temperatures reaching 28 degrees Celsius combined with overnight lows near 13 degrees are expected. Make sure to check on family, friends, and neighbors who are at higher risk, particularly if they live alone, to make sure they have a cool space. And watch for the effects of heat illness, heavy sweating, rash, cramps, fainting, high body temperature, and the worsening of some health conditions. Tonight on the North Coast, expect conditions to be cloudy with a 30% chance of drizzle overnight. Fog patches developing near midnight, winds from the west at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light overnight, a low of 13 degrees. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect a chance of drizzle or rain until Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds. Daily highs between 14 and 16 degrees, overnight lows between 10 and 13 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect it to be partly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers early this evening. Winds from the south at 30 kilometers an hour, gusting to 50, becoming light this evening, a low of 16 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect temperatures to start cooling off from 25 tomorrow down to 17 and cloudy on Friday. Overnight lows between 11 and 14 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, conditions are clearing with a low of 8 degrees. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it'll stay sunny, but some clouds are likely to come in Thursday and Friday. Daily highs between 20 and 27 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 14 degrees. Checking your Northwest highways now. On Highway 16, there's construction in Prince Rupert with a detour in effect, as well as bridge maintenance, line painting, utility work, and paving going on. On Highway 37, watch for road maintenance, bridge construction and maintenance, as well as crack sealing. On Highway 37A, watch for paving operations, road sweeping, and falling rocks. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, premiers convene for their summer summit. Canada's premiers have convened for their annual summer summit. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
I want to welcome everyone.
Canada's premiers are meeting in Ontario's cottage country for their annual summer summit, hosted this year by Ontario's Doug Ford.
I'm feeling fantastic.
The focus, fighting U.S. President Trump's looming tariffs set to kick in August 1st. Premier Eby wants to see softwood lumber front and center in trade negotiations and is open to export quotas.
If we could get a deal on this, it would support Americans, it would support Canadians, and it would be a net win. I'm a huge fan of the idea. I've been advocating for that with the Prime Minister. Start with softwood, let's get a deal done. And I'm hopeful that he's hearing that message.
Today's events included a session with First Nations leaders who have pushed back on legislation designed to fast-track infrastructure projects and are calling for more consultation. The premiers emerged expressing support for a new meeting with First Nations leadership and the Prime Minister.
It's time now in 2025 that First Nations are at the table and that we have a bigger seat in this country.
Another issue on deck, this one with broad support, removing interprovincial trade barriers. More controversial, ongoing calls, especially from Alberta, for more pipelines through BC. Something Eby has resisted, but which the opposition BC Conservatives say is needed.
British Columbia is in a unique situation where we could be the nation builder. We could be opening up our ports, getting our natural gas out to international markets, getting our oil out to international markets, and becoming that unifying factor of all of Canada.
Pipelines didn't come up this morning, but Ford says bet on it tonight at his family's cottage where the premiers have gathered for a barbecue.
It's going to be a great conversation around the dinner table tonight, and everyone kind of lets their hair down, and that's one great thing about all the premiers.
The leaders will be back at it Tuesday along with the Prime Minister, plotting ways to strengthen Canada's economy and respond to tariff threats just 11 days away.
Robert Buffum, CTV News.
Let's turn to the stock markets now. The Canadian dollar gained 0.3 cents. The price of gold rose $37.30. Oil dropped 64 cents. Natural gas fell by 6 cents. Aluminum was up $57. In Toronto, the TSX was up 47 points. The Venture Index was up almost 4 points. In New York, the Nasdaq was down 81 points and the Dow was up by 179 points. Still ahead, new overdose prevention initiatives. More than 7,000 Canadians died of an opioid overdose last year. Nearly 3/4 of the deaths involved fentanyl. Canada's health minister calls it a national crisis. Today, the ministry announced spending of nearly $3 million for programs in Atlantic Canada. CTV's Sarah Plowman has more.
I don't know if it's for my brother, but I'm going to say it is.
Her brother, Brody LeBlanc, who died in December, just 33.
My brother didn't die of a fentanyl overdose, but we believe that he was taking fentanyl at the time and he actually froze to death.
Whoever wrote his name left the gift of his memory. His sister runs the community kitchen inside. She's also a Fredericton City councillor.
He had his issues and his struggles, but I loved him dearly. My whole family loved him dearly. And I think there's a lot of Brodies out there.
Last year in Canada, about 20 people died each day of an opioid overdose. Fewer than the year before, but still a crisis. In New Brunswick, the opioid deaths involving fentanyl specifically reached an all-time high. In a bid to support those on the front lines, Ottawa is spending nearly $3 million on 4 programs in Atlantic Canada.
Because this is a national crisis, and we are talking about people.
In Fredericton, more than $500,000 will fund this outreach van and its workers. They patrol streets and parks at night and offer help to anyone, everyone.
Just to be able to get them what they need. Of course, like we said, naloxone's a big part of it. Even just simple as a conversation.
The team is often called in by bylaw officers. Their presence can free up emergency services for other calls.
There's so many gaps, and it's like you're not going to be able to fill them all, but like this is a really good start.
Having people in place overnight might have saved my brother and will save other people.
LeBlanc also says more needs to be done, especially around housing and getting people housed, noting people need support and stability if they're to overcome addiction. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
We leave you tonight with a true love story that spans across the world over decades. Here's CTV's Adam Sawatsky.
Natalie Meyer was leaving a boring college party early when she happened to meet Juan Lucio, who was doing the same.
And then we just started talking, and it was just like so nice.
And by the time they'd stopped their impromptu walk around the college campus, the international students had started falling in love.
We started a conversation that never ended.
Natalie was 17, Juan 18, and after 3 dynamic months at school in Canada, she had to return to Holland and he Colombia.
And we would call sometimes, but it was very expensive.
So they wrote countless letters to each other over the next couple of years, until the distance caused them to grow apart.
It's hard. It really is.
Yeah, I was very unhappy.
Over the following decades, both started families with other people. But after Natalie's marriage ended, she found herself wondering about Juan.
And I was just really curious how he was doing.
She found him on Facebook and sent a message.
I was very excited.
You see, Juan was also divorced and had been trying to reconnect with Natalie too, but couldn't find her online because her name had changed. He called her as soon as he could.
And 30 seconds later, I feel as if time had not passed.
Natalie felt the same, so they started writing regularly, phoning daily, and exchanging songs online. It began with Natalie sending this reimagining of Vivaldi's Spring and Juan sharing a Puerto Rican ballad about love that can never be forgotten.
We really connected or started to connect through music.
But before their soundtrack of love could grow into a playlist spanning 51 hours, they agreed to connect in person.
Really, really nervous.
While Natalie waited for Juan at the airport, a camera from a Dutch TV show just happened to capture their reunion, 35 years in the making.
So wonderful. It was wonderful.
I felt like I was coming home.
And now, Natalie and Juan are back in BC for their college reunion and celebrating 3 years of having a second chance at first love.
Well, I think love works in mysterious ways. Through time, through places, and through cultures. It's just very magical.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
That's our news for now. For more local news, you can visit our webpage at cftktv.com. Thanks for watching.